This time on Ask Rad Rat, we are talking about the best looking skateboard trick of all time. What is it? Welcome back to Rad Rat Video, a channel about skateboarding. Sorry for the bit of a delay in getting stuff out. I've been sick. I had COVID for about 2 weeks or so, but I was a little bit under the weather before. I still, like, when I was over it, as far as tests are concerned, I was still sick for a little while. It's been kind of rough. And sorry about Jake making all that noise upstairs. It's snowing outside. He doesn't have anywhere to run around. All right. I've got 3 questions right off the bat from Martin. First one is, would you consider making your own board in addition to your clothing line if you found that there was a market for it? And what would you do to make your board stand out? Well, I don't think I would, because there are 2 ways. I have considered it, and I've thought it through, and I know that there's basically 2 different ways to do it, and neither of them would really work because I've done shirts in both types of ways. So the first one would be to make something custom that I can go pick up. Like, I can go to the shop and like check them out and see, pick out the right shape and make sure that it works right, and I like the concave the way it is. Ideally, I would like it to be something fully customized. For example, I designed this board. This was just, you can check out the story about this one through with the guys at Open Source Skateboards. And this was just an idea. I wanted to have flat tails so that I could do like Caspers and truck stuff, but still be mostly street shaped. And the tails are less, like they curve more than normal. Like, I did all these custom touches to it. This board is not good. It's just an example. But if I were to make a board, I would want it to be fully customized like that, and made somewhere where I can test them out and that type of thing. The problem is, then I have to buy a bunch of boards and keep them in my basement. For example, this is one color of the shirts that I made. This was 3 years ago, I think. I had these all done. So, I had to figure out what sizes, how many of each size to get, what colors to get, and stuff like that. And the plus side to that was being able to handle the shirt to make sure that I liked how they felt, seeing the colors in person and not just seeing like a on-screen estimate of what it might look like, that type of thing. And that was cool. But the problem is, as you can see, I still have a ton of them. I have 4 boxes of shirts that I had made a while back. I think it's been 3 years. There was snow outside when I went and picked them up, but I don't remember exactly. So I had to pay up front to have all these shirts made, and I have not sold enough to break even, which is fine. I'm not trying to guilt you into buying any. Don't worry about it. If you don't want any, don't get any. I'm not trying to say that, but I'm just saying, like, to print a t-shirt is a lot less than making a custom skateboard. Like, the cheapest I can make a board is probably $30 each, I would guess. I don't really know for sure. So, like, I would be putting out a ton of cash up front to try to do that, and I just don't think it would sell. I sell 1 to 3 shirts per month. At that rate, it'll be like 5 more years before I'm out. So that's just kind of, that's the first style. The other style of having boards would be to have like a drop shipping one where I just upload a graphic to a custom board site somewhere. I send you the link. They charge you like $60 and I make $5 off of it. Like, that's a possibility. And I did that with my new type of shirts. I've designed 9 different ones. So something else I forgot to mention, like all the shirts sizes, they go from small to 2X. Now, I don't have smalls. So, like, I had to guess which sizes would work, and then people are requesting different sizes, requesting different colors, requesting like kid sizes or requesting hoodies, and I can't make all of these things and have them. So, like with skateboard decks, what sizes, and do I like get a grip tape bundle, and all of these different options that I would have to have for it to work is a big problem. Now, if I were to do it like a drop shipping style, like I do with my new shirts, I made 9 different ones, and all I have to do is click, blue, green, red, and just make all these options. Oh, make it the kid size, put it on a hat, put it on a sticker, and it's super simple. But the problem with that is that it doesn't feel custom. It doesn't feel like it's anything special, like the deck. With a t-shirt's generally just a t-shirt. But with a deck, there would be no custom touch to it. Like, I would get the first one when you guys have access to it. It wouldn't be like this custom tested thing that I made, And plus, the new store that I've made, which there's a link in the description, and they should be popping up on screen. Like, if you scroll down slightly right above the comments, there should be a little window where you can see the different shirts. I don't know if that works. I had to put in Google has to look at every product and make sure that they're okay before they allow them to be shown on the site. But anyway, I've made $15 off of these shirts. So, with the amount of effort, the amount of time, and the fact that it wouldn't feel like a deck wouldn't really feel like I could genuinely put my name on it if it's just something I ordered, So I don't see myself doing that. It could be cool, but it's just not going to happen. Question 2 from Martin. In a world dominated by short clips on Instagram, do you think full-length videos will slowly die out, only to make a comeback when it is considered vintage in about 10 years' time, or just die out altogether? I think they will make a comeback at some point. I have a couple physical videos here, like Grand Prairie, which I was in the little promo for. And I have one called Body Filler, which I have not watched yet because I've been sick and I just found it. But yeah, I like to have physical copies of things, and I think that is still going to be a thing for a long time. Like last year, books, like actual paper books, I don't know, they sold more than something. They broke some kind. It was in the news. There's a lot of books sold in the last year. And there was a time when the Kindle came out and all the different competitors of that, and iPads and all this kind of stuff, people were thinking books weren't going to last that long. Sales were dropping, but they've caught right back up. And because people like to have physical things, they like to have a shelf and see, oh yeah, that's the one where, and they feel all a little bit different. They've all got different page textures and fonts and all that kind of stuff. And having a physical disc, maybe not a tape, I don't have any way to play that tape, but having physical copies of stuff is still kind of a thing. So I don't know if it's going to die out all the way or if or what, but I do think it's going to become, we're going to miss it when all you've seen is one clip, and then you scroll and you see a different clip from a different person who might be a different stance, and you got to keep track of who was what, or you follow accounts that are just certain tricks, if there's an account that just posts crooked grinds or something like that, and you just watch nothing but that, you're not seeing a fully tailored, customized work of art, a complete skate video, picking out the songs, what order the parts go in, all that type of stuff is kind of lost when it's just one clip at a time. And I think at some point we'll see that it's not as good as it used to be. Maybe. That doesn't necessarily mean that we'll have physical copies of stuff. They might just stream somewhere. I think the Plan B video was on Netflix at one point. I swear I saw something on there. I don't remember which video it was. I think it was Plan B. So maybe it gets out more that way. I don't know. But I do think having a physical collection will be a thing in the future. Anybody's guess as to how big of a thing though. Number 3, you seem like a pretty matter-of-fact kind of guy, so I was wondering if you ever had hopes on becoming a professional skater when you found out that your abilities on a skateboard were above average. Above average is a bit of a stretch unless you're counting freestyle, but there were so few people skating freestyle that if I'm the 200th best in the world, that's like 50 from the bottom as well. Anyway, like I'm pretty good at freestyle. I was able to do some pretty cool tricks throughout the years, but street not so much. So I never had any dreams of being a pro skater. I never thought I would have like a pro board on a brand that anyone would know about. Maybe if it was like if I got really popular doing freestyle, that I could theoretically have a freestyle board, but being a pro freestyler doesn't mean you don't have a job. You still have a full-time job, and it's just like a side thing. That would be like, maybe. I didn't really plan on that ever happening, but that would be like the scope of the type of thing that I would be thinking of. I always wanted to get some kind of, like, know that people respected the stuff that I did. So, like, it wasn't necessarily being pro, but if I could get a sponsor of some kind, just to be able to say that I did, just to be able to say that somebody looked at my tape and they thought, you know what, this guy's pretty good. That was my goal, really. And to have some level of standing in the skateboarding online community, because I didn't really hang out with skaters in school. I wasn't allowed to be friends with kids at school, and I only had a couple friends that I knew from different ways, and like, and I only knew my one friend Tony who skated, and we didn't see each other that often until we got cars. So, like, you know, being 14, the only people I know who skate that I would actually be able to interact with were online. So my thing was just, you know, putting stuff in, uploading tricks here or posting them in a forum or something like that, and just having discussions and things like that, and just being able to leave some type of mark was my biggest goal in skateboarding. And I think I have reached that in a much different way than I would have thought at 18 or so, but you know, can't complain. Okay, next question from George says, "Dear radical rodent of the West, skating has been described as an art form by some. I could definitely imagine Salvador Dali popping a few kickflips between works. But what do you think is some of the most beautiful and ugliest tricks for skating?" I remember somebody on a previous Ask Radrat mentioning a lot of people calling the willy grind ugly. I'm with those, saying it's the ugliest. I see the best looking to be either a front blunt on a ledge or a frontside flip. Preparing for various comments from others on that one. Okay, the ugliest tricks. I think anything done well can look good, but the problem is when you do something badly. So, like, the thing I was thinking of is any sort of hand plant, you know, like a bean plant or boneless or anything like that, where you don't do it smoothly, where you do it in 2 steps. Sometimes people will have their back foot on the bolts. It's supposed to be on the tail, so that right when your foot starts to slide off, the board pops itself, you know. But if you have your back foot on the bolt and you step off and, like, you wait for a second, or you kind of slow down as you grab the board and then you jump, it just looks terrible. But that's more of a execution thing, and the trick itself doesn't necessarily have to look bad. So I don't know. It's tough to say what tricks are definitively the ugliest, but I did have a bit of a list of the tricks that I think are the best looking. For example, front foot caught hard flips. So, you know, people can do a hard flip all at once, where it comes around and you just kind of catch it straight and land it. If you tend to do them more like hard, you know, like end over end style, you might catch them just when it's done. But I'm talking about when it's kind of flat and it's about here and your front foot has to come up and catch it and pull the nose back. I think that is super cool. And I think the reason why is I can't imagine being able to do that. If I do a hard flip, I might land and like kick turn slightly, but I can't reach forward in the air and grab it with my foot and finish the spin. I think that's just super cool. I'm always impressed when I see a good one of those. Next, my favorite grind or slide would be a back nose blunt. It's hard to think of anything that looks more cool than that. Being able to pop up and pulling it around, you're sliding backward, but you're looking over your shoulder, and you had to pop and then pull the back truck up and over. Like it's impressive because it's obviously difficult, but it also looks cool. It's not necessarily the same thing, but I think I think a person who doesn't skate at all would have a much different list, because in part how hard the trick is a factor, but that's not what we're talking about. I just can't delete that part from my brain, you know? Next one, another example would be a kickflip McTwist, which is crazy. You don't see those too often. There's not a lot of people who can do that one, but if you see one, it doesn't look all that smooth, because you can't spin and have the board just stay with you the whole time and then catch it like halfway through or something like that. What happens is, I'll see if I can pull a clip. I might not be able to with, you know, copyright stuff, but like the board will start to flip and the skater will spin and then reach back and grab it and then pull it around. And that just looks so cool to me. Like it would look less interesting if it was like just doing a 540 kickflip in a game, you know, where it just stays perfectly there with you the whole time. Seeing that you have to reach back and pull, it helps you like understand how crazy this thing is that's happening. And it looks cool because it's so chaotic and then just comes together at the end. And the last trick I could think of is a backside flip that really like you mob kind of, and it goes down and flips like that. Which coincidentally is what my next question is about. I had to pair these together. Like I wrote my answer, or my notes anyway, and then I see someone ask a question about a nose diving backside flip. So let's just get into that to keep the conversation going. It is from David, who says, I need your opinion on the way some people make backside flips look like. I found 2 examples on Instagram. The diving motion of the board is so different from classical looking backside flips that stay more or less parallel to the ground. This trick looks more like a forward flip backside body varial to me, if this name makes sense. So he's talking about like how different a trick could spin before it has to have a different name. So like this trick is still a backside flip. You know, it's just like, and I picture it switch because you tend to see them more this way switch, because I think people's weight tends to be on what's normally their back foot. At least that's the case for me. And so doing a switch one, you tend to flick more heavily, I guess, you know, the way that your weight kind of is. And so he pushes down and it kind of spins around that way. Like it's still just a backside flip. There's nothing that would make you have to call it something different, but I just think it looks so cool. I don't know why, but it just feels so like simple, you know, like it's a complicated trick. It can look kind of crazy if the board pops up and it flips super fast, and then like based on the camera angle, it can look like a really complicated trick. But if you do it that way, it just seems so chill, and the board just kind of flops over and you land on it. I don't know. I just really like that. But as far as like, you know, the different styles that you can do tricks in, it's something that I think about sometimes, because when I was in college, I did a 3D animation of a 360 flip. I know you've probably seen this before. I've shown it, but I realize how complicated a 360 flip is, because that didn't look normal. That didn't look right. It didn't look right for my school. Was terrible, by the way. So of course that's a really badly done thing. But just trying to do something in 3D, like you can make the board spin this way and you can make the board spin this way. And so that would be a 360 flip, right? But it doesn't look right because you have to pop it. And so it's not just spinning this way and this way, it's also popping, and you don't flatten it out. So part of that backwards flipping motion is part of the 360 flip. But you can't say it's not also spinning flat, but it's not like, it's just so complicated. And every trick can be like that. Even just like a kickflip, how much you pop versus how flat the board gets as you catch it. You might kind of catch it like that. Or if it spins slightly and you kind of pull it back as you catch it. There's so many different ways to do tricks. It's hard to even consider how many possible options there are. And it's really, it would be a waste of time to try to name every possible option, right? So a backside flip that kind of goes down like that, It's just a backside flip, but it's a cool looking one. And I think it's the best looking trick that you can do, at least on flat. It might look weird downstairs, but yeah, that was my best looking trick. You can leave yours in the comments. But if you have any questions of your own, go to radratvideo.com and you can submit your question there on the homepage. The first shirts that I showed in the boxes that I ship out, those are on that site. There's also a /shop or /store links in the description that links to the new store that has all my different stuff. If any of that sounded interesting to you, again, don't buy something just because you feel like I want you to. I don't care. Don't worry about it. But yeah, that's it. You can support the channel through joining it here on YouTube or by sponsoring me on Patreon, or just hit the subscribe button and tell your friends. But that's it. I will see you next time. Thanks for hanging out.